first speaker, who I'm very happy to introduce, I'd say she's a lady who has literally written the handbook of how to communicate during crisis or during war. She's a peer innovator, a crisis strategy, and a powerhouse who knows how to build clarity in a time where everywhere is a chaos. She's a CEO and co-founder of Calibrated and the Ukrainian PR Army, an honorable speaker and brave and talented Miss Yulia Petruk, please.
Hi, everybody. I'm so happy to be on this stage after almost 2 days of travel as I arrived from Ukraine, which is, for obvious reasons, doesn't have any domestic flights. That's why it's a challenging journey for us to be at any international conference, but I'm very thankful to Dana for giving voice to Ukraine, and I'll explain why it's so important. So, crisis-proofing communication, what the 2025 Cyber Survey tells us about business readiness. Once again, my name is Julia Petruk. Before the Russian invasion, I had absolutely brilliant and normal career in tech. I was head of PR of a software development company. And a part of it, I also train PR practitioners in Ukraine to do international PR and do their job according to the highest standards and best practices of the world communication profession. But when Russia invaded Ukraine on the 24th of February, I would say that the life of each Ukrainian was divided into before and after. After I set up with my colleagues, with community members of Ukrainian PR practitioners, the PR Army, it was just an initiative of Ukrainian PR professionals to help Ukraine be visible in international media. We worked as a group of volunteers. We processed all incoming media requests from international media and helped to find eyewitnesses, experts on a number of topics. And then I was at that dilemma, what should I do next when my country is bleeding, when my country is teared apart, and I decided that I will start an agency, a comms agency, where I can combine my expertise in communications, international PR, and my network. The agency that I founded is called Calibrated. It's an international agency that works with 3 main streams: cybersecurity, defense tech, and cognitive security. During the times of the war, it's clear that Russia uses multi-dimensions of attacking Ukraine on actual battlefield, in cyberspace, in information space. So we work with those streams that may help Ukraine win this war. Those who are here in the hall, raise your hands who represent business, who are business owners. Okay, 1, 2, 3, okay. And are there any comms people in the room? I knew that. 1. Hey. Yeah, actually, this is a big pain of mine that, you know, security people go separately from comms people. They should go hand in hand. For now, Ukraine is ranked as the 5th country in the world which is the most severe cyber attacked. It's just the recent Microsoft report that was published, if I'm not mistaken, last week. So still we have that tragic, unpleasant, and real experience being a cyber-attacked country. Some numbers to justify my words. The average data breach costs $4.45 million. The number deviates from year to year, but still it's a huge one. Can you guess which percentage of reputation losses are in this number? So how much of percentage is actually the reputation loss and that image loss of the country? Any guesses? you're very either pessimistic or optimistic. It's 40 plus. What it means that when any breach happens, when any cyber incident happens, you are not just losing accesses, data, CRM, data entries, you are losing trust. And this is why security teams and comms team should go hand in hand. And another number to justify and to prove my words is that 75 people, consumers, are easily leaving and actually, losing brand loyalty if their favorite brand was attacked in cyberspace, if they were imposed to a cyber incident. So 75%, it's pretty large number, and with Gen Z, it can grow. What it means that, especially in consumer-facing brands, cybersecurity breach, cybersecurity incident can be also a synonym of the loss of trust. This is the hidden price of losing trust, reputation, and image in the face of your audience. So cyber incidents today is not only about tech, it's a strategic imperative shaped by geopolitical events, and definitely it's the price of lost trust, making reputation one of the most costly outcomes of cyber incidents. These are some recent and probably the most notorious and well-known cases when cyber incidents attacked both big brands, well-known companies, and smaller ones. This is Jaguar Land Rover hack. I'm sure you heard about it, you read about it, but it made the headlines of the biggest UK and worldwide media. Another attack is North Face, Cartier, Christian Dior, that customer data was stolen in cyber attacks. These are the headlines of the past 6 months. Marks & Spencer, a very well-known case, and I guess that it will be in the textbooks for future generations, both for cybersecurity and for reputation and comms people. So Marks & Spencer customers in limbo as cyber attack chaos continues. Talking to experience in Ukraine as one of the most cyber-affected and cyber-attacked country, we have a growing number of attacks. And the recent cases I want to share here with you is the case of Ukrzaliznytsia. It's the biggest and actually the monopolist and the only one railroad company which operates as the main logistics hub for providing the front line, for bringing any kind of aid from Europe and all over from Ukraine, and bringing passengers. As I mentioned, that there are no civil flights, there are no flights in Ukraine because it's not safe. Ukrzaliznytsia is the main artillery, not artillery, is the main transportation in Ukraine. And in March, it was attacked, and the online purchases of tickets were not, were attacked, and actually people could not buy tickets. And for, let's say, military, sometimes it's the only way to get home, for example, after being wounded, or for a short vacation with their family. And the whole Ukrzaliznytsia website and online store was paralyzed. The Ukrzaliznytsia, as the company, transports up to 100,000 passengers every day. So you can imagine how massively the the life of Ukraine was paralyzed, and I was watching their communications very closely. As a comms professional, as a colleague, I was watching how they communicated. And they did it brilliantly, at least from what was visible in the public space. They communicated through all accessible messengers and comms channels, because cybersecurity incident is the one that can affect your comms channels. When your email is hacked, you can get access to your email contacts. When your website is hacked, you can go and put a statement on it. So I will show what Ukrzaliznytsia did. Then another very notorious case, actually Yegor Aushev on stage mentioned it as well. It's Kyivstar, the biggest telecom company, was attacked, and 24 million customers couldn't use their mobile connection in the times when Ukraine is heavily attacked, and sometimes you just need to be in touch with your relatives elsewhere in the country. People could not use mobile connections for payments, for using their, even sometimes garages, if it was enabled by a mobile connection. And Ukraine state registries were attacked at the end of 2024, and it was followed with the continuous shelling. So now Russia's attacks became more sophisticated, more complex, more complicated when they combine information attack, cyber attack, and actually physical attack. So this is one of the headlines to demonstrate that Ukrzaliznytsia case was also Russian originated, a Russian trace was found, but 90% of passenger services were restored, I guess, in 3 days, 3-4 days completely. And what's good, and another demonstration of Ukrainian resilience, is that 26 trains arrived in time during that incident time frame. So what Ukrzaliznytsia did, they communicated through all channels available, and this is a screenshot from Instagram. Actually, this is how I discovered that I cannot buy tickets home, to get home by train, because back then I was abroad at another cybersecurity conference, and I saw on Instagram that Ukrzaliznytsia explains that they were attacked, and there are no online services available on the website, and the only way for the audience, for the passengers to buy tickets, was to come to offline railway stations. And I know from PR colleagues that they worked on site, they were physically redirecting lines of people, furious people, who wanted to get access and to get tickets immediately. And this is actually the chronology, the timeline, how the situation evolved. First, they acknowledged it publicly, because in the case of Ukrzaliznytsia, it was obvious for everybody that their service are not in place. Then they confirmed targeted cyber attack, and confirmed that the company operates in emergency mode. Then they did some partial recovery. Then they, after a series of investigations, they made a statement that there is a Russian trace. And then after, we can see, almost 2 weeks, half of IT services fully restored. We understood all the challenges that businesses in Ukraine face right now, and we ran a survey in crisis communication readiness in cyber and info attacks, asking business people how ready they are. And the statistics is really, really disturbing, that 42% of the companies don't have a cyber crisis response plan. They don't have any trainings in place to train their leadership, to train spokespeople, how to handle and how to restore the reputation losses, trust losses if they happen. 46% admitted that their crisis response team lacks practical cyber and info crisis-specific training, and 23 don't have designated spokesperson or response team. So I would consider it is a very disturbing trend in the country, which is attacked simultaneously from multiple directions. You see that still the biggest threat that the business people see is actually email phishing. It's almost 75% and 69% data breach. But the problem is sometimes business people are not aware of even possible crisis, possible cyber incidents. When I give talk on this topic, sometimes I'm asked a question, what should be the first thing to do? I say, at least go and meet your cybersecurity team, because sometimes comms people and cybersecurity people act just differently, not unanimously, not coordinating their efforts. And for the same for cybersecurity people, go and have a conversation with your leadership. Ask whether you have a dedicated person in case of some cyber incident happen. I also ask comms people to give a physical handwritten list of contacts of reporters, of different stakeholders. Talking about the Ukrzaliznytsia, Ukrainian railroad case, what I really love and I really want to distinguish it as a brilliant approach to communication. They separated active military servicemen as a separate audience they communicated with. Because as I mentioned, for our case, it's sometimes the only way for military to come back home to see their beloved ones, or sometimes just to go on a trip, you know, to see other regiments somewhere else. So what was really, really smart from the point of view of communications of Ukrzaliznytsia, that they covered all the stakeholders that were affected. So, of course, having a solid cyber crisis comms plan will prevent reputation loss, and this is probably the headline thought I want to leave you with. And, of course, it will help minimize the long-term financial impact. So, when we talk about communication challenges during a cyber crisis, that's what I mentioned. Usual means of comms may be down or compromised. Always have a plan B, C, or even D. For example, threat actors could have access to email or Slack, and you won't be able to respond. Once I heard a case from a Dutch businessman whose website and business was down because of cyber attack, and they handled all the comms through his WhatsApp, because he had a number of trusted media and big partners whom he kept updated about what was going on. And back then, it was the only comms channel that was used. Personal data breach puts all customers at risk of fraud and other malicious actions. And what is also peculiar is that you may lose access to your usual communication channels with stakeholders, so think about doubling your efforts. So, cyber incident communication plan is vital, and not every incident will bring you to crisis, because crisis, by definition, is the situation when your business acumen is affected, when your business is affected, when one of the stakeholders are affected, meaning that you are losing either financially or reputationally, or I don't know, your employees want to leave the company because they don't get enough information. So with a very smart approach to communication and handling crisis, cyber crisis, cyber incidents, that may not lead to crisis. That may not lead to headlines in media. Sometimes it can be quenched and localized with the proper approach. So cyber crisis is a situation in which you do not want to end up in reactive mode, trying to imagine speculation from customers or circulating in the news or social media. So this is kind of a checklist you need to do. You can actually take a picture of it and make sure that your organization, your company, is aligned with this approach. First of all, audit your crisis communications plan. So it needs constant updating. As I mentioned, that the types of cyber incidents, cyber attacks are getting more sophisticated. They're getting more complex. Review existing incidents, respond to the commutation, whether everything is in place or you need any additions. Prepare predefined messages templates for cyber attacks scenarios. When a cyber incident happens, or in Ukraine sometimes we have combined attacks with a physical attack, let's say of a drone, then information attack, disinformation circulation in social media, and then some cyber attack, people get very emotional. And sometimes this is the only way to calm down emotions and get back to playbooks, which have already predefined messaging templates. Clarity on roles and responsibilities. Make sure you have a dedicated team of legal, leadership, cybersecurity people, and comms people to handle the crisis. Designated and trained spokesperson. Again, emotions can be your enemies, and when you need a very well-structured response in the face of reporters on TV or on Twitter in a video format, make sure your spokesperson are properly trained and they are ready to comment on the crisis in case it happens. And well-defined communication channels and protocols, like with case of Укрзалізниця, railroad transportation service in Ukraine. They even used Facebook, which was almost not, the most popular channel recently for them. Instagram, obviously, not because they use it every now and then, because they use all the available messengers, channels to make sure their audience gets those updates regularly. And ask yourself, are you crisis ready for cyber and info attacks? Thank you. My name is Julia Patrick. I'll be here. You can see the sign saying Ukrainian. You can easily recognize me somewhere in the hall during coffee breaks, and I'm happy to answer your questions.
Thank you, Yulia. Thank you for giving us not just some examples, but practical suggestions that everybody can take back home, even if they go back home with just start to communicate PR and techies. It's important. So that's why we're here. So are there any questions here from the audience now? Please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3. If there are none from the audience, I have a few online. So first of all, a question about how to handle the PR communication during the incident if companies' social media accounts are part of the attack target and are unavailable and compromised. Maybe some tips and tricks, like if this is the first thing they know is only through social media, what should they work with then?
That's what actually I already mentioned in my presentation. You should go and get ready in advance in case it happens, and make sure you have an alternative list of channels. Sometimes even CEO's personal profile can be a channel of your brand communication. The recent trend is that people don't trust corporations, they don't trust corporate voices, they rather trust I don't know, the personal profile of CEOs or C-level leadership. That's why we have that boom of LinkedIn profiles, because people know that trend. Sometimes it can be, I don't know, it depends like which stakeholders are affected. And if it's, let's say, your colleagues, you can have a physical paper announcement on the wall saying what's going on, what happened, and what actions you are taking to prevent it. Yeah, like have alternative channels, if not social media channels, let it be official website. And one more remark from observations and recent research. Today, population is very intolerant. They can't wait. I am always, excited when, for example, when that registry was attacked, and it was all the crisis happen on Friday afternoon. Of course, not to have proper weekend for comms team and leadership and cybersecurity as well. So I opened, I guess it was Facebook, and I saw a lot of very emotional posts from other people saying like, 8 minutes ago, it was known that the registry was attacked, and still no official statement of the company. And like literally, you are still in your beds. You haven't brushed your teeth. You haven't just had breakfast, but you want to have a ready statement already published. People are very impassionate today. They're impatient because they want, immediate results. Think about it. That's why those pre-ready messages can come into play and can help you. This is like
perfect. And
response.
One more question. So you, during your presentation, you mentioned the disturbing statistics, like 42% don't have a crisis PR plan ready. So you must have seen also some of the worst crisis response communication lines. Maybe if it's in Ukraine or in the world in general, maybe you can share also that, like what is the not to do?
I'm the type of person who would rather praise rather than to punish, because I know that sometimes context can be so different and invisible for the rest of the audience, and sometimes certain countries may have limitations in terms what can be communicated, when can it be communicated, to what bodies it can be communicated. But what I would really insist not to do is to keep silent if the information is public already. As today, information circulates very fast. As I mentioned, people don't want to wait, and you will have accusations of being silent all the time. So if you know that the information will be leaked, and it's already leaked somewhere, just make a statement saying, we know it happened, we are investigating. Sometimes it will be enough to quench hunger for details, and people will start defending you, saying, hey, take a look, they are inspecting, they're investigating what's going on. And of course, it can give you extra, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours in advance to make sure you come up with very well-polished statement that will be placed in official channels and will be quoted in media lately.
Thank you. Thank you so much again, Julia. And for each speaker, we have a little present. So for your courage and for your time here, a little bit of cyber chest socks and a little bit of sweets for you to bring up home as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you.